What's going on, everyone? This is Kevin here, coming at you with my hands-on and first impressions video of the TCL 20XE. So let's get started. Now I'd like to thank TCL for being kind enough for sending this phone out to me to cover here on the channel. This device did recently launch, and it is being offered at both Metro by T-Mobile and Boost Mobile. Now it certainly is possible that many of the people who end up getting this phone do end up getting it for free, because at least at Metro, they are offering this phone free of charge if you do switch in from a different carrier. But I am curious to know if you ended up getting this phone or if you're interested in it, what other devices had you considered or are considering, and in general, how much are you typically looking to spend on a smartphone? Because I know that everybody has a different budget in mind based on their specific needs. Now, before I show you a variety of different things about the TCL 20XE, let's take a closer look and see what all comes included here in the box. So here is the box. You can see right there, TCL 20XE, powered by NextVision, which is their display technology. On the back of the box, we do have some basic specifications here, but I will be going into further detail on all the various features in this video. Now, the first thing that we do have in the box is this packet, and in the packet is a SIM card removal tool, and we also have a quick start guide. And then also included is an 18-watt fast charger. So it is pretty awesome that this phone does support fast charging at up to 18 watts. Pretty impressive for a budget device like this one. And we're getting a USB-C cable for charging and data transfer. So we do get everything that we need included here in the box to get started with the phone. Now with the TCL 20XE, we're getting a 6.52-inch display. So in general, a pretty large display here with the phone, which certainly comes in handy for content consumption, whether that's browsing the web, going on social media, or looking at photos and videos. It definitely comes in handy having this large canvas here because it just makes it easier to view things. Now the display itself is LCD. It is a 720p display. We're getting a PPI of 269 and we're getting a 20:9 aspect ratio. So a more narrow but taller form factor, which is pretty consistent with most phones that have launched in 2021. Now even though the display is 720p, for a lower end phone like this one, I think it looks really good. We're getting decent colors here, and in general, things do look crisp and clear. I also appreciate that the display does get decently bright, and for an LCD display, the viewing angles are not too bad either. Now up top here, we do have a water drop notch, and that houses the 5-megapixel front-facing camera. Now definitely stay tuned for my full review of the TCL 20XE to see a variety of different photo and video samples from the device. Now internally, with the phone, we're getting 32 gigabytes of storage, and out of those 32 gigs, 21 gigabytes is actually usable because the system software does take up a decent amount of space on the phone. Now fortunately, this phone also supports microSD card expansion, so if you do want to add a microSD card to give you some extra space to offload some photos and videos, for example, then you can do that here with the phone. And I do recommend that because 32 gigs of internal storage and then 21 gigs out of that being usable really isn't a whole lot. So if you're doing anything beyond the most basic tasks, such as doing some light social media usage, having a few other apps on the phone, and doing web browsing, phone calls, and text messages, then you are going to want a microSD card because that space will definitely fill up quickly. Now with the TCL 20XE, there is no wireless charging, but we do have a fingerprint sensor on the back of the phone. So we'll give that a try right now. There we go, very quick and responsive, especially for a budget device like this one. So there we go, very fast. And then the phone does also support Face Unlock. So I do appreciate that we do have multiple methods for getting into the phone. Now taking a look at the back side of the device, we do have a triple camera setup. So we're getting a 13 megapixel main camera, a 2 megapixel depth sensing camera for portrait mode, and a 2 megapixel macro camera. So unfortunately with this device, there is no ultra wide angle camera, which is a bit of a disappointment, but at the same time, not a feature that I would expect from a very low-end phone like this one. Now here's how things look with the main camera on the back of the device. And then again, from here, we can go to portrait mode. There's a ton of other features as well, which I will be going into further detail in a future video. But you can see we also have the super macro camera, which does allow you to get very close up while retaining a lot of detail. Then from here, we can switch around to the front-facing camera. So there's me. We can do portrait mode for this as well. We can also do videos, of course. So front-facing videos or videos with the rear camera too. And You can also adjust the resolution, ranging from 480p to 1080p, but 1080p is the maximum video resolution, so keep that in mind. Now with this device, we're getting 3 gigabytes of RAM and the MediaTek Helio P22 processor. Now the Helio P22 is certainly not the worst processor out there, but it certainly is very low end. I have used, though, a variety of different devices over the years with that same processor and also 3 gigs of RAM, so I'm pretty familiar with the type of performance to expect. And in general, with that configuration, don't expect this phone to be very fast, but at the same time, it is at least fast enough for the most common tasks that you would be doing with a smartphone, such as phone calls, text messages, web browsing, and light social media, and taking photos and videos on occasion. But if you are somebody who constantly uses their smartphone and you do high performance gaming, for example, and other very demanding tasks and other tasks that could be demanding on the processor, then just know that you probably will be running into some slowdowns and frustrations with this phone. But considering this is a budget device, I feel like we are getting a lot of value here as far as the RAM and processor go and the performance that you should expect. Now, I did run a benchmark test using Geekbench 5, and I'll show you the scores from that test right now. But essentially, I got a single core score of 152 and a multi-core score of 862. So what I recommend doing is running this test in your current phone and then compare your scores to these scores to get a better idea of whether or not the TCL 20XE is a performance upgrade for you, because it is possible that your current phone could be faster than this one. So again, these numbers don't really mean anything unless you're comparing them to numbers from another device, but this is a decent way at getting an idea of the type of performance to expect from the phone. But as I mentioned a bit ago, this phone is good enough for the more traditional tasks that you would do on a smartphone, but if you are looking for a more advanced device, then this certainly will leave quite a bit to be desired. Now with the TCL 20XE, we're getting a 5,000 milliamp hour internal battery, so a very large battery here with the phone. And as I showed you earlier on in the video, this phone does support 18 watt fast charging, so that's also very appreciated. So not only are we getting a large battery here with the phone, which will give you very good battery life, but you will be able to recharge that battery relatively quickly. Now the software here is Android 11 with TCL Skin built in. It does, for the most part, look like stock Android, but TCL has added in their own features. And what's nice is the features that they have added are features that do make a lot of sense. So for example, in the app drawer here, you can go up in the upper right corner and you have all these different ways that you can organize and classify the applications. And you can even organize them by icon color, which is pretty impressive. So that's one example of some unique features that TCL has added here. But what I appreciate in general with TCL's way of doing things with Android is that they don't change things just for the sake of changing them. They do add genuine, useful features, and I'm all for that. Now with the TCL 20XE, there is no NFC, so if you do like to use NFC to make mobile contactless payments, then just know that you can't do that here with this phone. But now that we've gone over a variety of different things about the TCL 20XE, let's take a closer look at the hardware. Now this phone is made completely out of plastic, besides the display, which is glass. And as far as the general design of it goes, it's really not too exciting, but at the same time, this phone is designed with practicality in mind. So the button placements make sense here. We do have a headphone jack on the top of the phone as well, in addition to a noise-canceling microphone. On the bottom of the phone, we have the speaker, microphone, and USB-C port for charging and data transfer. On the left side of the device, we have the slot for the microSD card and SIM card. Then on the right side of the phone, we have the power button, volume down and volume up. And then on the back of the phone, we have the camera module, flash, TCL logo in the corner, and we have the fingerprint sensor. But again, there's nothing overly exciting about the design of this phone, but at the same time, if you just want a phone that works, then this will get the job done for you. It certainly isn't the most interesting phone that's ever been released, but if your needs consist of a smartphone that can do the more basic tasks, then the TCL 20XE likely will be a good option for you. One other thing I like as well is this finish on the back of the phone. While it does pick up some fingerprints, it's not picking them up quite at the level of a phone with a reflective back, so I do appreciate that as well. But this is my hands-on and first impressions video with the TCL 20XE. I hope you enjoyed the video, and thanks again to TCL for sending this phone out to me to cover here on the channel. Now, I will be doing a variety of other videos about this phone as well here on the channel, in addition to the full review and tips and tricks video, but let me know what other videos you'd like to see me make about the device. But I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Kevin here, and I will see you in the next one.